Hey everyone, Chris Sawyer here. Welcome back to the Varietal Show. I have some amazing stuff in my hands here. If you haven't seen this recently, it's called Marionberries, and that would suggest that I am in Oregon, where Marionberries grow. That is true, and this is the Troon Vineyard. This is the Piquette. This is a great wine that we're going to be tasting first off the bat. Troon Vineyard is right here in Applegate. This is a special area right after you drive over the California-Oregon border, right near the little towns of Jacksonville and Ashland, of course. But right now we're in this area, and Troon Vineyard goes back to 1972 when Dick Troon was crazy enough to start growing grapes here in this area. It's kind of a tribute to them that the name Troon is on this bottle. And my great friend Craig Camp came here after I got to know him in Napa Valley for years with Cornerstone and making these amazing wines there. He came here, and I've loved everything he's done since he got here. So that's why I thought, if I'm going to cross the border for the first time since the pandemic hit, and I'm going to do my first show on Oregon. It's going to be with Craig, who's a great guy to follow actually on a lot of different social media too. But to be really honest, these wines are really special. And Craig, here we are. I guess the first question to ask is, what the heck brought you to Oregon, you know, after I got to know you in California?
Well, it was opportunity, I guess. You know, you're looking for a creative outlet,
Yep.
I think. And you know, I had, before I was in Napa, I was in Willamette Valley, and I had been buying grapes down here, and I was just really always fascinated by the area. And I was in Napa for a long time. We were buying fruit there,
Yep.
and I found it increasingly frustrating, actually, because you don't have perhaps the control you would want in the vineyard, but also the pricing. You know,
Yeah.
the pricing kept going up, and we were Hall Mountain Cabernet was our specialty, which got outrageously expensive, and I really wanted to get back to a place where we could have wines that people could drink. You know, so that led me back here. My wife certainly wanted to come back to Oregon. She missed it, and her twin sister lives in Oregon. So there was a family issue too. But it was really the site itself. You know, the first time I saw it, it was just a compelling site. You know, just the perfect exposure, fascinating soils, an interesting range of varieties, and the wines weren't great at the time, but you could taste the potential.
Yep.
If you know what I mean.
Yep.
You could see what was maybe possible. So we had then the opportunity to really recreate the site totally. I mean, the first step was going to Biodynamics. I felt that was the only real framework to restore health to the soil, which is probably one of the biggest problems in the farm conventionally. It was really in bad shape, a lot of vine diseases and things like that. So the opportunity to come in, I mean, obviously that's bad because it's very expensive, but the good part, of course, is then you get to come in and really design from the bottom up what you're doing. So all the new plantings have been biodynamic from the beginning, and we're seeing big results from that in the wine. But the opportunity to make wines, I think, from unique varieties that are ideal for a site is a great opportunity.
That's great. So the first wine we're drinking here is a really interesting, this is what we call Pétillant Natural, or Pet Nat as we call it, the geeks in the biz. But here we have it. What are the grapes used in here?
Well, so this is Piquette, which is sort of we call it frugal farmer fizz. And it's a very old way of making wine. The way we make it is the same way you would make a Pet Nat, except what we're using is we take the skins and the remaining juice from all of our white and rosé wines, and then add a little water to it, soak it overnight, and ferment that. So it goes into a stainless tank, and it's like here, everything's native yeast, you know. So, and then we watch it and watch it and watch it, and when it gets just where there's just enough sugar left, we drop everything else we're doing and bottle it, and then it ferments in the bottle.
Yeah. So that's the second fermentation is happening inside the bottle. That's why it's related to Pétillant Natural because of that. But this is more the skins instead of the original juice that you're using in
Right.
here. But it's very, very good. I mean, it's very fizzy.
It's a
coiffer. It's
Yeah.
a fizzy coiffer in the mouth. It's like, once again, let me show you the color of it. I mean, it's really crazy pink color. I mean, you could call it salmon, but I mean, it's like the rarest salmon you've ever had. And you might have just blanched it, actually, and it might be that color if you do blanching very well. But I mean, I love the flavor. I love the freshness of this, and I think that's been the success of these styles of fizzy wonders, as we would call them, is that they provide you with an opportunity to taste a really young wine that's gone into a stage of being a sparkling wine, or fizzy wine in this case, but also having the flavors of the grapes that are so unique. And actually capturing the flavor of Applegate, which is where we're at right now.
Right.
So
I mean,
fantastic.
it really felt it fit into the whole concept of biodynamics, because we're not wasting anything.
Right.
You know, it's really utilizing. And then after that, it goes into our compost pile, so we don't waste anything.
So we will talk about biodynamics, but I did a whole show on that with him and Andrew, and you can watch that too. But it takes a little bit of time, about 20 minutes in the other one that we did, to really explain that. But the fact is, it's a commitment to quality 365 days of the year. And when I came to this vineyard originally, this is about 5 to 6 years ago, you had just barely gotten here. And, you know, you've replanted everything basically here, and you put this biodynamic focus on it. And it's just really the applications and really paying attention to this and helping the vines be as healthy as physically possible, and to actually take advantage of the sun, the light, even the moon cycles as well. And it's really worth following up on. You can look on the Demeter page, which you can find, I think it's just demeter.org.
Demeter USA.
Or USA.org.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. But you can also find out so much by just looking at the Troon Vineyard website too. And I gotta say, Craig's writing, his blogs are awesome. So you know, we're getting into white wines here, and you've done such a great job. Oregon being very, very well known for Pinot Gris, King Estate. Thank you, King Estate, for what you did to put Pinot Gris on the map. Pinot Gris is it's a variation of Pinot Noir. It's in the same genus. It's just a white mutation, as we call it, of Pinot Noir. But the fact is that Vermintino that we're tasting right now is just so interesting. You know, this is such an interesting kind of probably best known from Italy, but also grown in France too. What do we call it in France?
Roll.
It's the roll. Roll. That's right. I wanted to call it rust, but it's roll. R-O-L-L-E. Roll. If you ever see that in a Rhone style wine, that means it's basically Vermentino, but from France. They don't like naming things after each other. This is the Applegate Vermentino. Tell us a little bit about this and what inspired you to plant this grape here.
Well, I think the climate is really important to think of. You know, Oregon obviously is justifiably famous for Willamette Valley.
Yeah.
They're fabulous Pinot Noirs, which we love.
Yeah.
But we're a different climate. We're more Mediterranean climate. When we looked at our climate combined with our soil types, the decomposed granite, you run into places like Corsica and Sardinia and Provence. And so this is the direction we went on the grapes.
Yep.
So the Vermentino obviously fit right into that slot. And it obviously loves it here.
Yeah.
In fact, we're planting more because it's a winemaker's dream. The chemistry comes in and you're just like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know, and it's easy to grow. And that's the sign of a plant that likes where it is, you know, that it's easy to grow. But also, I think we get that Corsican style almost, where you get a richness, but it's still high acidity, which then acidity is that defines Applegate. We get wines of extremely high acidity.
And we like acidity.
Yeah. So it just, all those things came together into this wine to enough where we make 3 versions of Vermentino. One, the wine you're tasting now, which is barrel fermented, all neutral oak, because we only use neutral oak. We don't use any new oak. And then another white wine that is fermented and aged in amphora.
Okay.
We actually call that roll.
Oh, nice.
There you go. And then we make an orange wine also in amphora called amphora Amber Vermentino. So
that's great.
We're really committed to the variety and
fantastic. Well, let's taste that. We've got the amber right here in front of us, and hate to dump this out, but I will taste more later as we eat this amazing stuff. You know, I think that really what makes me love this wine, the Vermintino, is just that great acidity. It's a brightness, a freshness that you've captured in there too, but I love the tanginess of that wine. I love acidity. I want the fresh kinds of stuff. When we go into springtime and we go into the summer, you know, there's nothing better than a nice active wine. You know, a heavy Chardonnay just doesn't work right then. It's not going to work. Even Pinot Blanc, you know, which is a great grape related to Pinot Gris too, it can be a little waxy. And I think that if you get into bisque, you know, winter bisque, great, that's a wonderful pairing. But it's not really the right thing during summertime, and getting into these energetic wines, it really, you're just going, wow, that's really great. Thank you so much for pouring it. That's what you want.
And we're only 60 miles from the coast with Dungeness crab. So.
Yeah, exactly. Right over there. Hard road to drive to the coast. And I will say, if you really want the greatest adventure in Oregon, you come up, you go to Ashland, you watch a little Shakespeare plays, and you get into the cool thing about Ashland. Come up and look at the old historical city of Jacksonville, which is very quaint and wonderful. And then you come out here, taste a bunch of wines, and then you take a back road to go back to California that is amazingly crazy, but it also goes right by the Oregon caves. And I will say that I've never seen a cave like that in the world. It's one of the most dramatic caves and worth the trip back to the coastline to get back to Highway 1 or 101 versus 5. But it's a great circle, and if you really need a great trip, you got to stop by Troon Vineyard, of course. That was already a given when we started talking about this. But talk a little bit about the amber.
So this is amber. It's Kublai Bench amber. We're on the Kublai Bench. It's the plateau that we're on above the Applegate River. As you can see on the labels, they feature the biodynamic herbs that we grow here. It's a dandelion. So amber is an orange wine. It's just another name for orange wine. So this is a white wine made like a red wine. So we're fermenting it on the skins in small fermenters. This is Riesling, Vermintino, and Viognier.
Viognier.
Yeah. That's
great. You know, some of these, we say white grapes, they're not necessarily white on the clusters. I mean, that's for sure. And in fact, some of them are kind of coppery in color. They're a little bit orange, and that's where this color comes from. It's not, and sometimes they're very, very golden too. And I think that this really captures it. Like this would be orange, obviously, more like an orange. Whereas this is it's a golden color, but it does have a little bit of a copper tint to it, just a teeny touch. But it's just Viognier is a great grape, very aromatic. Obviously, we've already talked about Vermintino being so great, and then Riesling. Oh, Riesling! Now you got me. And to be really honest, there is something about Riesling in Oregon that a lot of people do not know. At one point, it was about a quarter of what was produced here was Riesling. And to be really honest, again, they're doing a much better job up here than we are in California. There are great places in California, like Anderson Valley would be one of them where we go. That's a great place to find Riesling in California. I just think that the focus wasn't here. And to be really honest, it wasn't that it was a focus here. It sold, and other people wanted to buy the grapes up here, and it kept it in the ground until really good winemakers got up here and said, "What do you mean you got some Riesling?" And they're the same ones that started making great Pinot Noirs up here and other things like that. So it's really one of the hidden treasures of Oregon, and when you come up here, you can really investigate that more.
Absolutely. And it makes it's a thicker skinned grape, which is really what you want for making orange wine. Yeah. So you get those phenolics in there. So it's made. It goes into a 1-ton fermenter. They go in together. It's punched down once a day. The same ferments to dryness in the fermenter, and then aged in neutral oak. That's it.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. So the next wine that we're going to taste is we're going to go off a different path. We're going to get into reds here, but I think that the more important thing about this wine is that it is Grenache, and we're getting into this amazing variety that you really love. I mean, I got to know you through the great Napa Valley Howell Mountain Cabs you were making, but you were also making a little Pinot Noir from up here in Oregon. But to be really honest, if I was to put Craig with grape varieties, it would be the Rhone varieties. And you really have had your opportunity here. You know, when the White family purchased this back in 2016, they gave you the keys to do what you wanted to do here. What was going to sell, what was going to grow, how you wanted to grow it, obviously biodynamic techniques. But why, what got you into Grenache and the Rhone varieties?
Pleasure.
Just pure pleasure.
Pure pleasure. Yeah. I mean, those were the wines I like to drink. You know, it's like anything else. You taste, and you, all of a sudden one day you realize you're buying all Grenache and Syrah, and that maybe that's the direction you should go in life. Yeah. I started even in California, where we're buying fruit and El Dorado and Mendocino, and it just was an exciting. I just find it exciting. It's really, and so you get a wine like Grenache, which can be almost Pinot Noir like, especially when grown in Oregon. So this is a 100% carbonic maceration, so a nouveau style. Yeah. So all done in stainless, whole bunches just go in, we seal it up. It ferments for a couple of weeks, and that's it. And so it's made to be, it just was bottled, and it's made to be drunk this summer. Yeah. Served with a little chill.
Definitely one of those amazing lunch wines. You can see the Demeter certification right here too, if this focuses in on the camera there, hopefully. Glou Glou, what's that name all about?
It's a Glou Glou. It's a French name. It's a French slang. Okay. For gulp gulp, for wines just made to
glou glou.
Just glub glub and enjoy. Not a lot of thought. Glou glou. Yes. You know. So just wine for fun. So.
I think that's great. I mean, so tell everyone, like, I'm looking out right now at a new patch that was just planted. Tell everyone about kind of what's happening right here moving forward.
So there were a lot of varieties planted here, I think, as experiments, and they've done a lot of vine diseases. So we had the opportunity to come in and replant and really focused totally on these southern French varieties. So Syrah, Grenache dominate, but there's also Carignan, Counoise, Cinsault, so the whole range, and then on whites, you know, Marsanne, Roussanne, Viognier, Picpoul, Claret,
love Picpoul,
Bourboulin, the whole range is going in. So we'll be focused on a lot of blends, that's for sure, but we'll also do single varieties. I've always been a great admirer of Tablas Creek.
Me too.
And their process, and Jason
love those guys.
Been a friend and
Neil Collins in the house.
Yeah. You know, Jason Haas has been a great friend and supporter of us, and they've been just tremendous to work with. So we've had a great. It's a wonderful thing about the wine industry, of course. You know, Tablas has been supportive. When we came here, Calhorn Vineyard,
right down the road, very worth talking about too. Calhorn Vineyard, and Calhorn meaning the biodynamic process of putting cow dung in Calhorns. It is true. And also silica, the quartz crystals inside of the Calhorns, burying them, making applications at different stages of the development of the vine during the year, which it really works. And you can watch that other show that we did together to talk about that a little bit more in detail. But the fact is, you know, the Rhone thing was going with Calhorn before you even got here, which is great.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, Calhorn was one of the main reasons I came here. I mean, I tasted their wines, and having a connection here in the past, it really told me this was a place where you could go to create Rhone varieties with a European balance, which was important to me. I'm a big Northern Rhone fan, and I wanted to reach towards that style of wine. So we're able to accomplish that in Oregon, and it's harder to do in warmer areas.
Well, you've done a great job here, and I mean, it's a fantastic day for me just to be here in Oregon. Yay! Going back to a place where I spent a couple of years of my life, but being here and looking at these amazing hillsides, amazing green soils, and everything that's really working, but preserving this and putting actually Applegate on the map is a big deal for you, and actually bringing these grapes that were grown in the old world and applying them here is, I think you've done such a great job already, and these vines are still young, and this wine is killer. So I hope you guys will check this out. This is Troon Vineyard. Amazing wines. The great Craig Camp with me, the winemaker extraordinaire. And also another thing besides looking up Demeter, obviously DemeterUSA.org, but also look up the Rhone Rangers, because with Jason Haas that we mentioned with Tubeless Creek, and Craig has been a great part. I think you're on the board, aren't you? Yeah. Because I did a show with them last year, and I was very happy that they called me to do that, because I love the Rhones. You got the Rhone fan here too. But I just think that this is really one of those great wineries to follow, because it's only going to get even better and better and better, because these vines are starting to be planted and maturing quickly. So something really for you guys to watch out for. And anytime you're up here in Oregon, especially Southern Oregon, remember, we love Willamette Valley. Do not get me wrong there. But traveling through Oregon, believe me, I used to do this on the Green Tortoise, believe it or not. If anyone ever knows what I'm talking about with the Green Tortoise, I used to catch out of San Francisco. And they'd bring us up here, and we'd make a stop up somewhere near Grants Pass, and we'd all get in this big... water springs there, and they'd make us breakfast and all these great things that you're like, oh, we're all naked, but that's not good. But this is just a fun thing that would happen here, and it made me appreciate Oregon so much. I think you'll appreciate Oregon when you try these wines. Troon Vineyard, you guys, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you,
Craig, and thanks for joining in with us for the Varietal Show, and I hope to see you guys next episode. We're over 40 now. Been completely successful, but please keep following us and keep learning from great people like Craig and everyone up here in Oregon. More to come, and happy Earth Month coming up here in April too. This is going to be shown on Earth Month days, and but as we're going to tell you, every day is Earth Month. Every day, every month, because it's about applying these things and being good to Mother Earth. We really like her, and she's our super pal, especially when you treat her right. Cheers.